All right, welcome to another edition of the Hutchinson Report, Town Hall, the Air. Okay, this is Open Topic Saturday. A.H. Hoffman, how are you? Good morning. Ricky, Leroy Jackson, Vino, and myself, and of course the audience. We got a lot to talk about. We like to reserve one Saturday each month to do what, A.H. Hoffman? A.H. Hoffman, where are you? We like to do, well, we'll get a All right. Did we have a microphone? All right. Well, I wanted to say, I wanted to say a Janet Jackson equipment malfunction, but I think what we had, no, I think what we had, no, I think what we had was an A.H. Hoffman malfunction. All right, now A.H. Hoffman. All right, A.H. Hoffman. Let's get down to business. What are we talking about today? All right, playtime is over. All right. Today, Saturday, is Open Topic Saturday. First of all, welcome to the Hutchinson Report Facebook live stream. Jeffrey Epstein, former Labor Secretary R. Alexander Acosta, resigned. Donald Trump, homelessness, upcoming, again, new round, Democratic Party debates. Racist 911 calls. They're still making those calls out there about, I saw somebody black, stealing a plant somewhere. I saw someone out there breathing. I saw someone out there walking. They look suspicious. We're still getting that. Intriguing subject came up this week in the Washington Post. Leroy Jackson. Many people are asking now about Kamala Harris. Is she authentically black enough? She has mixed ancestry and all that stuff. Well, everybody has mixed ancestry. Well, not everybody, but many of us do. Is she authentically African American? Big debate about that. I don't know why, but anyway, they're debating that. Then, of course, when all else fails, Leroy Jackson, there's Donald Trump. You can always talk about him. Whatever's on your mind, whatever's in your heart, whatever's in your soul, whatever's in your body, feel free to talk about it. Open Topic Saturday. The Hutchinson Report Facebook live stream. Go for it. All right, we got the Bach, the beautiful Bach, Brandenburg Concerto number 2. I just love that. The piping little melodies there, those high. Back in the Baroque era, Leroy Jackson, they call it the high Baroque era. And what they had the bass. Well, you're a brass guy. They had the brass trumpets back then. Those long trumpets. Oh, yeah. So in the Bach Brandenburg Concerto number, that's what you hear. Those little high notes with the trumpets. I just love it.
I like tuba.
Ricky, give me some traveling music. Give me some fast pick. That was Bach, the Brandenburg Concerto. I was just talking to Leroy Jackson, who is a former marching band guy. He knows about those high tones with those trumpets there. And, of course, in the Concerto number 2, the Brandenburg, by the way, Bach just goes to work with it. I mean, he just knocks them dead. Give us some traveling music. Get me in the mood. There we go. All right. A.H. Hoffman told you. On the Hutchinson Report today, July 13th. No, not Friday the 13th. Saturday the 13th. Sorry, you can't get me on that. Good luck day. Open topic. Anything that's on your mind, anything that's in your heart, anything that's in your body and soul, anything that happened this past week in the news that you feel passionate about, you want to get it off your chest, go for it. I'm looking at the New York Times right now. Let me kind of set the tone, some things I got to get off my chest on Open Topic Saturday. We'll try to do this every now and then, just let you vent a little bit. People like to vent, like to have their say. Nothing wrong with that in this era. Vent, vent, vent. The big win. You can have hot air blowing all over the place like you hear me, my hot air. R. Alexander Acosta. Donald Trump has his left hand almost patting his back, his fanny. I don't know what that's all about. Big picture in the Saturday, July 13th, 2019. Leroy Jackson, tell me why Trump has his hand near his behind back here.
Question.
Why does he have his hand?
Yeah.
You see, Ricky, you see Trump's hand. It's almost patting his fanny. R. Alexander Acosta. A.H. Hoffman, do you see the picture of Trump and former Labor Secretary? Look at it. Look where his hand is. Do you see where his hand is? Almost patting his fanny. What's that all about? Now, we know Trump's enlightened views about sex and women. We already know the man is a man of the times, the 21st century. We know that. But he kicked Alexander Acosta under the bus, kicked him to the curb. You know why? Because Jeffrey Epstein, as we well know, Epstein's in the news. You know, he's finally out there. They're nailing the guy for sex trafficking. Oh, it just goes on and on and on. He's finding him bribing people, paying people off, and of course, big financier, big Trump guy. Jeff Epstein. Interesting. We're going to see where that goes. We're going to see if the district attorney in Manhattan, if in fact they deny him bail or not. You know, Trump, by the way, he has no loyalties to anybody except anybody that's not named Donald Trump. That includes Donald Trump Jr., that includes Jared Kushner, that includes Ivanka and whatever their names are, all of the Trumps,
Melania.
Whatever the name is. You know, doesn't make any difference. At the end of the day, it's about me. It's about ME.
Self-centered.
It will be very interesting to see where that goes. Okay. Still a lot, A.H. Hoffman, about homelessness. A lot of money is pouring into L.A. You know what? I've said this time and time again. You're wasting your time. You're wasting time and money because anything that you give, all these announcements, we're getting millions of dollars to fight homelessness. A.H. Hoffman, we've had millions and millions for a long time to fight it.
Yes.
And you see what the streets look like. Calcutta, 1, 2, and 3.
It's disgusting.
All the way. So all the money in the world is being squandered. We already know that.
Yep.
They find other ways to spend it. So, who's kidding who? It's not about money. Stop giving these millions, billions, because it's down a black hole. The fact is, there are better ways to do it. I have a 8-point program to end homelessness. And as you know, it's on my website. Take Back LA County. I have an 8-point program to end homelessness. Doesn't require spending a nickel. Not squandering any more taxpayer dollars on that. If you have thoughts about that, I'll unveil that publicly, as time moves on.
Earl for supervisor.
Okay.
Earl for supervisor. Sorry.
Well, yeah, we'll get that. We'll get to all that.
I just had
and
to
by
say
the
it.
way, and I like that age, Hoffman.
I just
Keep
had to
talking
say
it
that.
up.
I'm sorry.
We also have a 10-point plan called How to Move LA. Traffic. How to break up the gridlock. Did you hear that, Leroy Jackson? How to break up the gridlock on freeways. They're all parking lots. Freeways and surface streets. And it doesn't cost a nickel. Got a plan on that? We got a plan on everything.
You have a
A.H.
lot
Hoffman.
of plans.
We do have a lot of
Rick,
plans.
I love it.
Thank you, Ricky. I appreciate that. I like that. Anyway, back to Open Topic Saturday.
Yes.
If you got thoughts on homelessness, you can talk about it. So far, we've got homelessness, we got Trump, we got Acosta, we got Epstein, racist 911 calls. Another one got caught, A.H. Hoffman.
What?
I don't know if you heard about that. Made big news. I don't know if you heard about it, Leroy. A guy on CNN was trying to sneak a 911 call again on an African-American guy. He saw somewhere blowing his nose or walking across the street.
Are you
Well, I don't know,
serious?
something, frivolous.
Uh-huh.
His son, the twist is, his son had enough sense to say, Dad, don't do it. The son, in tears, said, don't do it.
But
Interesting.
he called anyway.
He called anyway. Who listens to sons? Especially when the son is, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
That should be considered a crime.
Well, okay, it should be. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you, Ricky. I like that. In other words, I had a neighbor one time
We're
that
calling
said,
on you.
I had a neighbor one time that said, put the cuffs on them right away. I like that. You know what I've said? I've written articles on that. I blame blacks for letting that happen because we don't do what? When that happens, demand, number 1, a citizen's arrest. Number 2, a real arrest. Number 3, prosecution on the spot. If you don't do that, crybabying and whining later on how I'm being victimized and all that doesn't mean a darn thing.
Well, that's why you're here to teach them to do that.
I'm trying
and
to
tell them
do
put
that.
the idea in their head and how to do that.
I'm trying to do that. A.H. Hoffman, now, let's get down to your favorite candidate, Kamala Harris. All right, she's back in the news again. You know what I think about her? Empty suit Harris. That's what she
You're
is.
still mad because she's
An
out
empty
and fight.
suit. She's
That's
an
what
empty
that is.
suit.
You've
I'm
been railing
sorry.
on her
Empty
because
suit.
she
I'm
caught
sorry.
biting offhand.
You heard what
Off
I have
guard.
said it. If the
He should have
Democrats
been
are dumb
on
enough to nominate her, a double landslide for Trump. Anyway, there's a side issue. Always we come up with these issues, jerking the American people off. There's always something. That's all it is. The side issue is the Washington Post had a piece this week. Some, probably A.H. Hoffman is one of them secretly, some African Americans now are questioning Harris's black identity. They are questioning her black identity. Remember, is she authentically African American? She's a mixed ancestry, all that kind of stuff jumbled up.
Let her race right.
They're all mixture.
They'll let her know.
Everybody's watered down with something.
We are all watered
Now
down.
they're off to the races. Some saying that she's not authentically black. Big debate.
So what is she authentically?
Read A.H. Hoffman. Read the Washington Post. Big to do about, to me, A.H. Hoffman, a big to do about nothing. I said, too, on Facebook, you're barking up the wrong tree with her. I couldn't care I don't care if she comes from the moon. I'm not looking at that. I could care less about that. What I do care about is your record. And you know what, and we have talked about that. We'll go into that. That's the subject for another time and another place. Leroy, Ricky, Bino, how are you? A.H. Hoffman, you need to get off the phone for a second. We're going to open up the lines in just a few minutes. Leroy, this might be close to you. I hope you're listening.
I'm listening.
Leroy Jackson, are you listening? A conservative columnist who's also a contributor to CNN. He wrote a piece. It's online today, the CNN website. A.H. Hoffman.
Yes.
Maybe you didn't hear this. I know you were yakking on the phone somewhere. You were blabbing away on the phone.
I'm answering the phone.
They're not going anywhere. The phone, look, the phone, Ricky, Alexander Graham Bell has been around for a while.
Just like to look
The guy Alexander Graham Bell, who invented the phones, that's been out there for a century. The phones aren't going anywhere. They'll be there for another
Adios,
minute.
Míos.
Listen to me. I'm more important than the phones right now.
Adios.
All right,
míos.
A.H. Hoffman.
Yes, sir.
If you would give me your attention, a conservative columnist. That's right, Ricky. That's right. You heard me. A conservative columnist. He's, by the way, a contributor to CNN. He wrote a very interesting piece. Caught my eye. Can I read a little bit of it? Will you indulge me?
Yes,
I
indulge
promise you
you.
we'll open up the phones then, Leroy Jackson. Quit looking at me like that. All right.
Get him, Leroy.
The Democrats. Working title of the piece is, the Democrats seem to still can't get it right. Now, wait a minute. Before you roll your eyes to the heavens, before you sigh, sometimes truth can come from many different places. You have to open your mind to that. Can I read what he had to say?
Yes.
Specifically, he was zeroing in on immigration. I'm going to read. This is not me writing this. I'm going to read this. I want your thoughts on this. This is Open Topic Saturday. It's another one of the topics. The Democrats and immigration seen through the eyes of a conservative columnist, contributor to CNN, all of that. Quote, are you ready, Leroy? You're waiting with bated breath.
I'm waiting.
We're all waiting.
Ricky's waiting with bated breath. I can hear him
We're
breathing
all
over
waiting.
there. Now, the big debate this week about the census, whether you can ask, are you a citizen or not? Supreme Court said no. Trump is still trying to get that question on the census. As it turns out, the overwhelming majority in polls of Americans, including a good percentage of Democrats, say there's nothing wrong with determining whether you're a citizen or not. It's just common sense stuff. Quote, add the census question to a long list of examples Trump will use to bludgeon his opponent on immigration in 2020. Each time a Democratic presidential candidate or leading member of Congress calls for decriminalizing illegal border crossings, providing free health care plans for illegal immigrants, removing existing border barriers, or eliminating ICE and DHS, agencies that enforce our immigration laws, they further entrench themselves on the wrong side of a larger political and cultural issue that continues to drive widespread voter intensity. Essentially what this guy is saying, if you keep going down that road, Democrats, you're going to lose. You already lost mid-America anyway. You're not going to get them anyway. Basically, you're going to lose the election on this. People of the general public, we're not talking about California and New York. We're not talking about that. But even there, be careful in these states. Everybody is not West Side liberal. Everybody is not Los Feliz progressive. Everybody is not KPFK liberal, progressive, radical. Be careful about that, even here. I have many Facebook friends, A.H. Hoffman. They're very conservative. And, some of the comments, I read all of them. I don't react. And I'm struck sometimes by the deep conservatives. And they listen to KPFK, by the way. They listen to me. Doesn't make any difference. Doesn't change anything. All right, so your thoughts about that. Are the Democrats continually barking up a wrong tree, whether it be illegal immigration, going to the barricades on something that simply the general public is not behind them on? Or are they standing on principle, moral grounds, and do they have a real case to make? And stand their ground there. 818-985-5735, 818-985-KPFK. Jeffrey Epstein, Acosta, always Trump. Homelessness, racist 911 calls. Harris, black identity, Trump again, back to Trump. Democrats and immigration, 818-985, or whatever you feel passionate about, July 13th, Saturday on the Hutchinson Report. Open topic Saturday. 818-985-5735. 818-985-KPFK. I still want to know one thing, Leroy. And Ricky, where are you? I still want to know one thing. Why has Trump got his hand on Acosta's backside, his fanny, his butt, his behind? Why? Why does his hand?
The
Why does he
same
have his hand
reason
there?
why he had
You don't
his
need to.
hand
All you
on
need
all
to see.
those
You see the
the
picture right
women's
here. Why?
crotches.
You see that? We'll be right back. All right, Leroy, we're also doing our Hutchinson Report Facebook live stream, too. You got the mic there. We're getting a lot of people that are actually weighing in with comments and observations on our live stream. You got some names, Leroy?
We have Anthony, we have James, we have Michelle, we have Mullen Flower, we have James again, Brenda, and who else do we have here? That's what I got right now.
All right. Well, you get some more names because, we have a lot of people. God, last week we had over 1,000.
Yeah.
And we love that. By the way, you can watch the show, listen. If you can't get in on the phone lines, you can always weigh in on the Hutchinson Report. All right. Let's get moving here. Who's been waiting? Who's been suffering the longest? George, Huntington Beach, line 2. George, go right ahead. George?
Hi, hey, Errol. Hey, one of the things I really was bothered about, and since it's open mic or whatever it is,
Open topic. Go right ahead.
Yeah, is and you mentioned it too about the arrests. Do you know that even if you just get arrested, and if you're found not guilty or they drop the charges, doesn't matter what happens. If you just get arrested, even if it was it goes in the NCIS, and you'll always be permanently blackballed from a lot of different jobs because of that, and you can never get your name off. So, I mean, a lot of people don't want to call up their families or friends, and get them arrested, because if they did, that would be a real nightmare for the rest of their lives.
Wait a minute. Let me stop you one second, George. My understanding is that you mentioned arrest, and wait a minute. If the charges are dropped, it never goes through the whole judicial procedure. There's still obviously there's still a form, a file there's an arrest file. My understanding is that's expunged from the record. It's not there. You're saying that's not true?
Not true at all. In fact, it goes on the NCIS, which is a national database that every law enforcement agency
Really?
Has access to, and does not, and also background check people, everybody.
Well, let me stop you. Wait a minute, George. So when you say background check people, here's a scenario. Let's say I was arrested, but then again the charges were dropped. There were no court proceedings, no nothing, none of the rigmarole we have to go through. Well, obviously after an arrest and all the things that people have to go through, you're saying that if I apply for a job, there's that possibility because of that database system, an employer might or will have access to that, could deny me employment, could deny me a number of things because they look at that and say, on July 13th you were arrested, and therefore you're out. We can't accept you. Is that a possibility?
There was a lady that was working over as a waitress. She applies for a banking job as a teller, and then they tell her after she was waiting for her interview, she got her interview, and she had somebody used it was a false ID. It was a false identity. Somebody stole her identity, and she got arrested. She got pulled over, arrested because they thought it was her. And it was her, but somebody else was using her identity. Mm-hmm. And once they cleared it up, she stayed in jail for almost a day and a half, and then they finally cleared it up. And when they cleared it up, she went back to work. She did the interview,
and she was fired.
They told her that the job was filled,
yeah.
And then she kept on seeing the ads over and over again, for tellers. So she went down there and she said, she was demanding what was going on, and then one lady finally told her that it was because if you have any type of arrest, they can't take you. Yeah, and it was somebody identity theft. But that's not the real thing.
But George, let me stop you right there because I got that. The reason I'm stopping you, it's great. To me, actually, that's a whole topic for a show. The reason I'm stopping you is because all the lines are jammed now, and I want to give as many people a chance as we can. Remember, it's Open Topic Saturday. One quick thing, George, and we'll revisit it again, but thanks for that information. One thing I do remember, I read a piece in the Wall Street Journal some months ago, somewhat similar to that. A lady, A.H. Hoffman, you got to hear this one to believe this, basically what George is talking about. A woman was working, I think it was in Michigan, one of the cities there. She was middle-aged woman, I think, in her mid-50s, maybe even 60s. She had been working for a public agency in Michigan for 25 years. Ricky, you got to hear this. 20, maybe 30 years. Turns out when she was a kid, this ties in with what George is saying, a teenager. She lived in Philadelphia then. I think she was 15 or 16 years old. You know, kids, I mean, do things. She and a friend went into a store and they shoplifted. Well, no, the friend shoplifted. She was with her. The friend was caught.
Okay.
They were taken down. There was a record of that. She's 15 years old.
Oh wow.
Wait. Here's where it gets interesting. She's 15 years old. She didn't shoplift. She was with her friend who did.
Right.
The friend was arrested, I guess, taken down. You know, back then in juvenile court, they basically called the parents and let you go. But they still had a record of that. The woman now is 50 years later, had long forgotten about that, lived a stellar life. No problems, no issues, happily married, children, grandchildren, the whole thing, working for a public agency for 30 years because of her name was still, she thought, you know, it had long since been expunged.
Right.
Her name was in that database. They found out now with the supercomputers, as you know, you can check everything.
Right.
They ran it, found out, wait a minute, she was arrested, had that. She was fired on the spot after 30
Are you
years.
serious?
No, I'm serious. Wall
Did she
Street
sue
Journal.
them? Did she sue them?
Yeah, well, no. She sued. She did all of that.
Did she win?
No. What they did is they have agencies now you can go to that will, for a fee, you can try to get a record expunged. We're talking about juvenile records. Get it expunged. She paid them a lot of money. And by the way, there's a lot now with, you know, Latinos, Hispanics, because of different names.
Right.
Using different names, they're running into that all the time. And she paid them a lot of money. They made a lot of promises to get it expunged. I mean, she didn't get the job back, by the way. And then guess what? They took the money, and it was still there. Her name was still not expunged.
No.
Finally, when it was exposed in the Wall Street Journal, then I think the district attorney or the city attorney in Philadelphia, you know, they did a big to-do about it. You know, we'll get rid of it and all. But the damage had already been done. Magnify that, like George is saying, by thousands of cases around the country. We got a problem. Okay, let's keep moving. Pedro Baez, welcome. Open Topic Saturday. Go right ahead.
Well, Earl, thank you very much. And basically, I think that is a show that we can do next week because I'm sure there are stories that will come out of the woodwork of people who have been so traumatized. And the one thing I wanted just to say, that wasn't what I called about. I would just want to say one thing, that when a juvenile is arrested, generally those records are put under seal. You can't see them. But somehow or another now, they're quote, unsealing them so that everybody in law enforcement can see them and potential employers. And that is something that obviously needs to be addressed. Well, Earl, I simply called up because, as you know, I am very much disgusted at what has happened this week. And specifically...
Oh, yeah, what? Which one?
Which one?
Epstein or Epstein. If you're from Brooklyn, it's Epstein. If you're in California, it's Epstein. But either way, this sleazeball, this pedophile, who amongst his friendship list, people that many of us have admired, like former President Clinton and the like, to say that, oh, I didn't know anything about what he was doing, come on. That to me is such a cop-out, such a lie. I cannot, for the, well, it is. It just gets to me as both a parent and now a grandparent that this man was
It's about
able
that hand, though, on the fanny.
buy his way out of being incarcerated where he belonged, because he knows that this time when he goes to jail, if he survives a week, that's a long time, because I'm sure there are going to be plenty of guys who will be after him and will do what.
All right, now, thank you, Pedro Baez. Thank you. Angela.
Incidentally, one other thing. Simona Halep beat Serena Williams in the Wilmington finals.
Oh,
Well-
wow. Okay.
Well, Serena has held her own for a long. Thank you,
sure
Pedro.
has.
Long. Okay, we got that. Thank you, Pedro.
53
Serena's held her crown, her title, and her dignity on the court for a long time. It's okay to begin to pass the torch.
Yes,
It's all right. No
it's all
problem
right.
there. And I think the first person that would certainly welcome that is Serena. By the way, Leroy told me, A.H. Hoffman,
Uh-huh.
that we're getting a lot of comments about, I had forgotten him, R. Kelly. Apparently he's back.
Oh.
Apparently he's back in the news again because he was arrested the other day. Now they found a lot of underage teen,
What
what's
else
it,
is
underage
new?
sex tapes in his house or whatever.
That's old news.
Well, but no, it's not old news because he was arrested again.
But no, that is old news. Earl, they
What's
knew
old
that
news,
he
about
had
his
old
arrest yesterday?
No, about the tapes of underage teens.
Well, no, people were commenting not about that. What they were commenting on is they were seeing a disparity there between a lot of attention on that on Facebook, but almost nothing on Epstein. So they were seeing is there a double
okay.
standard?
Well, of course
Interesting,
it's a double
interesting,
standard. But it is
interesting.
interesting, and it is a double standard.
Yeah. Again, I'm not prepared to say on that. You know, usually I'm a man of, as you know, Leroy, few opinions. I'm not an opinionated man, as you know.
Excuse me?
Well, I'm not opinionated. I mean, you know, I just go with the
Okay.
flow. You know, I'm like Ricky. I'm like
Somebody can
you know,
can you bring back Earl Afari Hutchinson, EOH, because this is definitely an imposter.
I am like
He's
putty.
not opinionated.
Whichever you can shake
Are
me
you
any which way
kidding me?
you want.
He
I have
has
no opinions
lost
about
his
anything.
noodles right now.
However, having said that, you know what? No comment about R. Kelly just yet. However, it's open topic Saturday. If anybody else, there you
Put
go.
him
Bring
in
it up, bring it
prison.
up, Rick. Bring it up.
We can't take away his brilliance when it comes to music and writing, but send his butt to prison.
By the way, can Jeffrey Epstein? Can he do a little rap music? Can he do a little bit of
Send his
ballroom
butt
music?
to prison.
Can he do?
You know what? I think they should go together.
You
I
think
think they
so?
should be in the same cell.
Oh, the same
the
cell.
same exact cell. Make them partners or how to a cellie.
Carmen, Los Angeles. Carmen, go right ahead. Carmen.
As Reverend Jeremiah Wright said, the chickens are coming home to roost.
I thought Malcolm X said that.
Well, maybe he got it from Malcolm X.
I think he
But
did.
anyway,
Yeah.
the point is, I've been wondering when this story was going to come to light. You probably are aware that Gloria Allred's daughter is also a lawyer. I can't think of her name right offhand, but at one point, not that long ago, she was representing a woman now in her 30s who was raped, according to her, by your, I won't call him I won't call him yours either. I call him 45th.
No, no,
because
you,
I can't call
that
him
president, the
because
president.
he's
Lisa
standing right.
Bloom.
Right, Lisa Bloom, yeah.
Okay, yeah. She was raped by, can I say his name?
Yeah, go right ahead. It's open topic Saturday, which means the
Trump.
guilty and innocent are unprotected.
Okay, I'll just say Trump. She was raped, and when she was 13 years old, when he was at the mansion in Florida owned by Jeffrey Epstein. Now, I'll just leave it there. And
All right,
let
Carmen.
you
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll
take
let
the
that
lead.
germinate now. I think he put it out there. And, Carmen, you called a name, a big name. And I'm sure it's not the first time. And we know with this gentleman, I wanted to say something else, A.H. Hoffman, you know, but sometimes
and
I'm
say it, EOH.
well, I just wanted to say, you know, with this monkey, we know that basically it'll come up again. Thanks again. Wayne Fontana,
Before
go.
we leave, I just want to say one more thing. The reason why she did not go forward with the court case, because there was one set up, is because she was threatened.
Yeah.
She was threatened.
And you know, and speaking of that, Carmen and A.H. Hoffman, did you know that Epstein, when you talk about threats, that brings up something. That's how they do it. They threaten you and they bribe you. They do both, the carrot and the stick. Epstein wired $350,000 to two witnesses, to buy their silence. And if they opened their mouth, there was a threat. That's how they do it. Remember Cosby, all those years he threatened them? Threaten. We'll go after you with lawsuits. We'll do this. We'll do that. Then they offer him a little bit of money, and then boom. Well, by the way, with a non-disclosure statement, you cannot reveal anything, any of the particulars about that. That's being challenged too. Okay, Carmen. Let's see. We lost Wayne. Let me get to Greg. Greg, Culver City. Go right ahead, Greg.
And Adrian, thank you so much for your program. I just wanted to let the listeners know about the event that took place last night. This is an event actually all across the United States, but particularly here in L.A. It was the Lights for Liberty event, where hundreds and hundreds of people came out in support of all the immigrants, especially the children that are being tortured and illegally, in my opinion, held because you're simply trying to seek asylum in the United States. And I was really moved last night by the events. I just wanted to share that with all your customers. There's lots of news stories online. You can go on and check it out. But it was a wonderful thing, and I hope there's fruition from that somehow we can get a change in our government so they don't do these terrible things to these people.
All right. Thanks for the information, Greg. 818-985-5735, 818-985-KPFK. A.H. Hoffman, Leroy, Ricky, and Vino, you know it's Open Topic Saturday, so whatever's on your mind, ever in your heart, it's okay. We got Trump. Perennially, we got Trump. We got Acosta. I still want to know that hand, though. It just bothers me to look at it.
I know it
I don't know why I
does.
brought
I
this
see
in.
it.
Leroy Jackson, why did I bring the
Leroy, he
paper
won't
in?
even-
I mean, I got to keep looking at that hand on the fanny.
The
Trump and
hand on the
Acosta.
fanny.
What is a hand on the fanny? What can I tell you?
It's
I
their
didn't-
love affair, Earl.
I did not put
Just
the
like their
hand
love
there. It's not my hand on this backside.
It's their
It's
love
Trump's.
affair.
All right, we got Acosta. We got Epstein or Epstein, however you want to pronounce his name. We got homelessness. The upcoming Democratic debates again. Intriguing about that. How do you think that will play out? Will there be another cheap shot by someone against another candidate, as we saw with Harris and Biden? Will there be, this time, stick to the issues of today? Don't go back, Leroy Jackson, to the Paleolithic age. Don't go back to talking about brontosauruses, T-Rex, and all of that. What happened when A.H. Hoffman was 1 year old. I'm going to go back, A.H. Hoffman with you. I'm going to go back and find something that you did when you were 1 year old. And I'm going to beat up on you for that. Jackson, I'm going to find something you did when you were 5 years old. Ricky, I'm going to find something you did yesterday. No, not yesterday. I'm trying to get contemporary with Ricky and beat up on you for that. Will the Democrats this time understand it's 2019? Hello? Talk about climate control. Talk about criminal justice reform. Talk about debt relief. Talk about education. Certainly talk about health care. Leroy, do you get my point? Things that we are talking about now, that we're concerned with now. I don't want to know what Leroy Jackson did when he was 2 years old. I'm not going to pick on you, Leroy, for what you did when you were 2 or 3. I don't care. I mean, after all, you're all 8 years old now, so we'll leave that alone. 818-985-5735. Open Topic Saturday. We'll be right back. All right, let's see. Who's been waiting the longest? We've got Morris, Long Beach. Mo, go right ahead. Morris?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, my friend?
Go right ahead.
I just wanted to give a shout out to the rabbis who were arrested down at the southern border for protesting those kids being kept in cages like chickens for sale for the market. They probably got criminal records now. Probably folks ain't going to give them no jobs. But we're talking about the manifestations of the Word of God, which is love. They were not operating on chapter 25, verse 40 of St. Matthew, chapter 25, verse 40. They're rabbis. So they weren't operating on that. So they were just probably operating on God's Word, which is love. And I want to say this about Mr. Epstein. It's funny. When Hillary Clinton was running for president and Donald Trump was just talking about her like, oh, my God. You never heard from Bill Clinton. You couldn't talk about my woman like that. I don't care if he is running for presidency. You never heard from old Bill. But now when old Epstein situation come out, he got a comment to make. What's up with that? I'll take real comments off.
Well, Morris, I got to tell you, it's all about politics. You know that. I mean, politics, I hate to use that word, trumps everything. How about Leroy? Change the vocabulary. Supersedes everything.
Thank
I think we
you.
can live with that. So, it's political. Epstein is a big Trump guy. He's a big financier and supporter of Donald Trump financially. So,
Birds
what's
of a
there?
feather flock together. Two
Absolutely.
birds.
Margot, Montebello.
Montebello.
Yes, thank you.
Bello,
Wonderful.
Spanish.
I lo-
Go right ahead.
Well, we have a threat that they want to flatten our hills, and we'll have to call it Fatal Fail. But I want to get on your program because it's a great forum. I love the Bach. I love that you ball and dance. But we must have hand-marked paper ballots. I'm trying to get to our 2020 votes will count. If we use electronic, computerized, imaginary voting machines, they won't count. Brad Friedman on Bradcast, live on Mondays, and his archives are full of evidence that we must spread around. And I have made a commitment to start myself. I didn't even go to temple today because your first program is such a great forum. So get out there and make sure, find a way, get everybody to have a hand-marked paper ballot.
There's no record of votes without the paper ballot. So when they go with the electronic, there's a difficulty in proving people did anything.
Oh.
You know,
Okay.
it's the
There's a big
ability
debate on
to
that.
fix it. Massive.
Margot, thank you again for that information. By the way, and that is going to be a continuing issue, too, about the debate. Now, for your information, Elizabeth Warren, you know, I'm a big Warren supporter, as you know. Elizabeth, unlike Bernie, too, and Biden, too, not the others. She's thought out all of these positions. She's got position papers up the yin yang that are well thought out on a lot of issues. One of them is on a national ballot, uniform ballot. So you don't have this hanky panky with the ballots. You have one ballot, 50 states, and basically open voting, use of that ballot, federally mandated. I like that. In other words, take all the little shenanigans, all the little hanky panky, all the little that's another suppression technique too. All the ploys that are used with the ballots, a consistent national ballot. I like that. Read her position on that. She has, in fact, it's an act that she has labeled it, and I really think it's good. And that's why when you have position papers that are thought out from candidates, these are issues. That's what you need to talk about. Let's see. Somebody's been waiting a long time. Irvine, go right ahead.
Yes, I wonder if people knew that the Willie Lynch letter, The Making of a Slave, is back in print. It is in paperback format, and it answers all of the questions as to the state of African Americans and as to the state of mind of African Americans and white people in America. The reason why I say it is back in print because it was out of print for many, probably 50 years, if not more. Mm-hmm. But I found it on Amazon as well as
Give us the title one more time.
It's a Willie Lynch.
This is the title. The Making of a Slave, the Lynch Letter. Now, this was a speech that Willie Lynch in 1712 he gave on the river the King James River in Virginia. He came from the islands. He was a European white man. He owned a plantation and slaves in the Caribbean. He came to America to give a speech to the American slave owners, plantation owners, because the American slaves were out of control. So he had his slaves under control, and they wanted.
Why don't we do this? Let me stop you right there. We got the title. A.H. Hoffman, did you get it? You got it.
I've heard of that.
All right, let me check it out. Again, Lisa, I'm not familiar with that. Let me check it out, and then we'll comment on it again toward the end of the show, or maybe even next week. All right, thanks again, Lisa, for the information. We're getting lots of information to do, but we need to keep checking this out. Let me get, before we take a quick little break here, we got a commissioner here.
Andre Parvenu.
That wants to talk about voter suppression. Okay, Andre, we're running. The clock is up against us, so I know you always have, tons of info and facts. Give us give us a concise, watered down. I shouldn't say watered down, but give us a very concise your concern.
Sure, Earl. Good morning, first of all, to you and Angela and Pedro. I know you're listening. I'll be brief. I go back with you guys.
Yes, indeed. Well, you're a font of information. I know that.
Okay, but I'll give you information. Voter suppression takes on so many different forms. I'm glad Margot brought up the electronic machines, and it's changing voter procedures, intimidation at the polling places, as we've all seen in Georgia, Florida, and the Carolinas, adding invasive questions or intimidating questions like that citizenship question is included. But the biggest form of it, the worst form of it, because it lasts 10 years and that's etched in a 10-year time period, is gentrification. And that happens through the redistricting process. We're currently looking for a new set of 14 commissioners in this state.
Really?
I'm one of the current 14. Yes, sir, Earl. And the deadline is August the 9th. So I would like anyone who feels that they have the qualifications to become a commissioner, and that's especially important in this polarized political environment. And because of Supreme Court measures, it's going to for other states, the assembly and senatorial vote elections are going to be more and more important. But for California, we have a citizens commission.
Well, Andre, let me ask you this now. While you're on the line, how about this? I think we got that. You got the elections, the need for commissioners. Where can people go that are interested? Do you have a website, an address? Give us something.
The deadline is August the 9th. That was my next point.
Okay.
Go to the 3 keywords, shape California's future. They made it very simple. Google shape California's future, and they'll give you all the information. And you'll also be hearing me talk about it at various public forums throughout the city.
Sounds good. Andre, always a pleasure. Thanks again. All right, Ricky, let's take a quick break here. I just want to know. I know I'm starting to sound like a broken record. You know I'm going with this. Look, it's right in front of me, the picture.
Lord Jesus.
What do you mean, oh, Lord Jesus? The picture is, what are you
Lord,
talking
baby
about?
Jesus.
Lord Jesus can't help you on this one, you know.
No, they can't help you on this
No,
one.
they need to try to help him. But you
That's
know
his
what? No,
buddy.
he threw the towel in on him a long time ago. Hopeless on that
Birds
one.
of a feather flock together.
Even God can't help this guy here. When he looks at him at the pearly gates, you know everybody's got to pass through the pearly gates sooner or later. What do you think God will say to Donald Trump? That will be very interesting. The exit sign will be pointed downward, A.H. Hoffman. You know, downward, all the way down. You know, like H-E-L-L, at the bottom of H-E-L-L. All right, Hutchinson here. Open Topic Saturday. We'll be right back. Okay. Wendell, L.A. Go right ahead, Wendell. Wendell?
I'm going to make this real quick because I know you're tight on time, but, you know, during this administration, all we had to do is look at a few numbers, facts, and figures. 25 appointments have been replaced in 2.5 years.
Whoa. That's got to be the Guinness.
Not normal.
That's got to be normal. That's got to be the Guinness Book of Records there. Wow.
That's all we need to look at. Have a good week.
All right, Wendell, thanks again. 25, and guess what? More to come. Oh, this Ricky, Angela, he's just getting warmed up, kicking people to the curb, throwing them under the bus. Oh, God. More to come. Tim, L.A. Tim, go right ahead. Tim?
I just wanted to say, I think, you know, like the thing that's most pressing on my mind on a daily basis, and you and I kind of banter about this frequently, is our president and our leader. And the problem that is sitting heavy on my heart right now is what's happening at the borders. And that, I mean, there's I can list 5 to 10 more things that are really pressing, that are directly related. And
well, Tim, guess what? We've had so many calls on that. I think the line forms in the rear on that, and rightly so, because people are deeply concerned. And, you know, people are weighing in all over the place on that and doing more than weighing in. What they're doing is they're going down to the border and in other places where they can make their voices heard, and that's a good thing. That's what democracy is all about. People have to be heard. All right, Tim, thanks again on that. We got it. Keith, L.A. All right, Keith, I know that you're now kind of recovering from July 4th. I know you had a big day that day. You were dressed up in wigs. You had your pompadour. You had your uniform on. You had your muskets. You had all of that. That was your day with James, Tom, and George. What do you got to say today on Open Topic Saturday?
Well, sir, I thank you for taking my call as usual. I just wanted to ask you and your audience, perhaps, if they're listening, I want to ask this question. When Pelosi came out in public, you know, she came out just recently, I think Monday or whatever, she said that Trump is trying to make America white again with this caucus question, the census question. I'm sorry, not caucus. Right. The census question, you know, about whether you're a citizen or not. So she's trying to make America white again. Now, my question, I'm asking you this, what does she mean? What do you think she means by that? Because America was never really white. I mean, we've had, you know, the Native Americans. Right. It was also, they're written in the Constitution, the first Article 1.
Exterminated.
The blacks
enslaved, yes.
No, they weren't exterminated. They were given their own land.
There was an attempt to do that. I think they're called reservations.
And they have their own land.
You know, Chinese Americans, they were what? They would, you know, work to death on the railroads. Hispanics coming in, work to death in the fields. Yes, it is a ethnic thing. But, you know, but let's bring some, but Keith, let's bring a little context to it.
Well, let me just finish.
Yes, sir.
Here's the part I wanted to say is that, you know, blacks, and I know people disagree with me on this, but I want you to think about this for a minute. Black people, since our ancestors were slaves, we have assimilated into the white man's culture more than anybody. I mean, we have excelled. We have, you know, even during segregation, we had our own businesses.
So, Keith, all right, because we're almost out of time. Your point now is what on that?
Yeah.
The point is. All right, well, you made the point.
Asking you, what does it mean to make America?
Okay, I got that. Let me do this. Let me take you off because I'm only rushing you, giving you the bumps rush because I like to do it. But beyond that, no, we got a time thing here. But I want to get to Katie from San Diego, and I'll come back on that. Katie, I know we only got a few seconds left. Katie, go right ahead.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I'll make it quick. It was a couple of weeks ago, a caller called in and had made a nice comment that the best tool to prevent Trump from being reelected or prevent people like him from getting into the White House is education. And I got to thinking, I thought, yeah, that's a great point. It is. The more educated we are, we're not going to elect people as crazy as him. But then if you think about pre-World War II Germany, they had the most universities in Europe at that time. They were well educated, and yet here they supported this crazy Hitler.
Right.
And that's the thing that Hitler,
Let me stop you there, Katie, because we're almost out of time. You know what? The fact of the matter is, it's been well documented in Germany, Nazi Germany, the prelude to that. You had one of the most cultured, educated, sophisticated societies, almost in humankind in Germany. You had Beethoven, you had Bach, you had Mozart. You had Heidegger, you had the great philosophers, you had the great logicians, you had the great mathematicians, you had all of that. And then look what the German people sunk to. So education, no. You can be you can have the greatest education in the world and still be an idiot and a fool when it comes to doing things the right way. Leroy Jackson, you can attest to that as an educator. All right, Vino, quickly. We only got a couple of seconds.
Okay, I have a magnificent comment by Ronnie.
Gap Band.
It says, your past actions define who you are, and the more incidents which are similar over a period of time paint a picture which can't be ignored.
All right. Vino is reading now one of the comments from our Facebook live stream. All right, bring it up, Ricky. Hey, it's Hoffman. We start our 5-week session with our dance class. Leroy was there last week. Leroy, you had fun. Leroy was dancing away.
Were you dancing,
yeah,
Leroy?
he did. We did a video on that. And by the way, go to my Facebook page because Monday night, West LA, summer's coming up. You want to work that, that weight off. You want to do all that stuff. Learn a few dance steps. We're out there. This is what we do our workout, aerobic workouts. You bring it up a little bit,
What
Ricky.
time is it on Monday, Earl?
7 o'clock.
Okay.
We'll see you there, A.H. Hoffman,
West
dancing
LA
away.
College.
West LA College, Fine Arts 104. And I still want to know one thing. If you
don't get off of that EOH.
Why? Why? Look, I didn't put my hand on the guy's back fanny. I want to know why. What the heck is going on here, Ricky? Here, you see it. What can I say? Something's going on here. Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, Leroy. Thank you, Vino. Thank you, A.H. Until next week.
James Derrick Crutchfield.
Did you see the website?
Who else? We have to give a shout out to Ronnie Lipschutz. We have to give a shout out to Jackie Jones. We give a shout out to Nikki Scott. A shout out to Mary Telgerman. And a shout out to Oren Michael. Who else? A shout out to Michelle Riley is watching as well. To all our listeners.
It's an
also
engaging
Brenda.
It's an engaging
Rose
show.
as well.
I'm glad I
give
got
a
you
shout
guys
out
to
to
interpret for me because some of those
Angela
calls, I don't know what they
Huffman.
were saying.
Yeah.
We have to
What
give a
language do you
shout
speak?
out.
Swahili?
You giving a shout out to me?
Yes.
You?
Whoever that is. Who is that?
You, what are you doing on there?
George
How'd you
Ball.
worm your way into it?
I give a
A.H.
shout out to
We gotta put this A.H. off.
Yeah,
You gotta start doing the
Akbar.
Instagram. You did that for a couple of times.
Can we not? We don't have to do this on live. We can talk about this.
No, everything is spontaneous with us. We have no secrets.
We can.
We have no
we can
secrets.
do
So
this.
if you go to YouTube, I'm still on that too.
Yeah, right. We could
can
discuss this later,
No,
but Earl wants to discuss
we
it
can have-
right on Facebook Live.
Listen. I
We
don't-
just love it.
A.H. Hoffman.
Got this pimple over here he wants to discuss too.
Listen, if Donald Trump, they could almost have a brawl. I don't know if you heard about that at the White House, which they photographed, and they thought it was so great. They almost went to had blows. We can have blows right here, and they can see it. You know what? It boosts the ratings. The ratings go up. People love that.
All about the ratings.
It's
So
all
can
about
I? So can I choke you on
You
Facebook
can do
Live?
whatever you want to. Yeah,
For the
whatever.
ratings?
Go right
The
ahead.
ratings.
There you go.
For the ratings.
So anyway, okay, you know, they've had enough of us, AHR.
Yes,
Can
they
we
have.
close it off? They're getting
So-
sick to death of us.
Yes. So, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Hutchinson Report Town Hall. The
Oh,
air
wait a
every
minute.
Sat-
No. We got to do one. I forgot to mention one thing, the most important. Your birthday. I forgot to do Stevie Wonder. You know, we'll do it next week. Because July is your birthday month, right?
Yes.
We'll do it
Yes.
next week. Okay,
Happy
we'll hold
birthday
that.
to me.
Okay, you close it out.
Okay, so once again, I would like to thank everyone for tuning in to the Hutchinson Report Town Hall of the Air. Every week, every Saturday, we appreciate your support. Do us a favor, a big favor. Share this video. Share it. Have your own watch party. Okay? We really appreciate it. What else do you want, Earl? Because he's over there looking at me.
You don't look a day over 99.
A day over 99. You know what? This is some goals. Ouch.
25.
Really?
25.
Okay, so this is for Facebook Live right now. Doink. Doink. Okay.
And she really wants to do it too.
I know. Hold my hand. Anyway, thank you very much.
No, wait a minute. Sexual harassment, domestic violence, all the above.
Anyway, thank you very much. Share this video. We appreciate your support. Until next time.
Hey, Shaw, man. My buddy.
This is my buddy, right?